Hi, my name is Mary Bogart. I am a professional psychic medium here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm going to post a couple of videos to answer questions that I get asked an awful lot by clients, just to kind of help people out, because I'm sure a lot of people have these questions. The first video that I'm doing is how to nurture your psychic kid. If you actually think your kid is psychic, what to do about that. One of the first things that you want to do is, if your child is very, very young, before the age of 4 or up to the age of 4, a lot of times kids will remember their past lives. Now, of course, kids have very active imagination, so it's kind of hard to determine, okay, what are they just saying? Because maybe they just saw it in a cartoon or on television, or what is it that they're actually feeling is true and could later verify that it actually was true. Up until, like I said, the age of 4, a lot of times kids will remember their past lives. The biggest key with dealing with psychic kids is never to make a big deal out of anything. You make too much of a deal out of it, then they'll start thinking that it's super special and that they get a lot of positive attention, and next thing you know, they're really wanting to bring this out all the time and trot it out like it's some, party trick. And we've got to let kids know from a very young age that this is the kind of thing that absolutely everybody has the ability to do, which is true. Everybody has dreams that come true. Everybody has those feelings that later turn out to be fortuitous. This is always true for everybody. And this is Pumpkin. She's my 6-year-old umbrella cockatoo, and she completely agrees with me. But back to little kids. If you have a very, very young toddler, one of the things to do is ask them, who were you before you were, and insert their name. Tell, who were you before you were Dave or whatever, and see what they say. I always encourage parents to just sort of jot that kind of stuff down and just save it for later, because you never know. There might be a time where, if they really do develop this ability, where they're able to pull more and more information through, and then at some point even get some information that can be validated. Now, a lot of people want to know if their kid is a long-lost relative that's returned to life, like been reincarnated or something. In my experience, that really doesn't happen very often. People definitely do reincarnate. People have many, many lives. If you only have one, and a lot of us are screwing it up, we're not going to get it right. So the other side gives you as many opportunities to get it right and to learn the lessons that you want. However, coming back constantly into the same family makes literally no sense. You want to change your experience up. So when people come to me and say, oh, I think that my son is my great-grandfather that died during the Civil War or something else like that, probably not. Now, your son could be somebody who was in the Civil War, but may not actually be attached to your family in any way. Another thing that I would suggest doing is, there again, we're not making a big deal out of anything, show your young child photographs of relatives that have died that you know they've never seen in person. They've never seen these photographs. You're not explaining what these photographs are. Now, of course, there again, they're kids, so you have to wait for the right time when they're nice and calm and they want to, take a few minutes to go through something, maybe right after they've woken up from their nap and they're having a little snack or something. Not when they're all wound up and all their friends are over and they're trying to play. You don't want to try to get them to focus when it's just not their time to focus. Another thing you don't want to do is lead them and go, oh, do you know who this person is? This is your grandmother. Do you see her? Because, of course, they're just going to agree with you. What you need to do is show them these photographs and say, do you see anybody that you've seen before or that you know? And then if they stop on one and say, I know that person, ask them, well, how do you know that person? What do you know about that person? And just sort of see what they say. Sometimes you'll get stuff where it's clear that the kid is just trying to get attention because you're paying attention to them. Other times you'll actually get information that there's literally no way that child could have ever known. That's going to be a strong indicator that they are talking to somebody on the other side and that they are connected. We also want to make sure that we really encourage this ability, but like I said, we don't want to make it seem unusual or that they're better than all the other kids because they can do this. So every so often I'll have parents and they just trot their kid out and tell everybody, oh, my 5-year-old is very psychic. Quick, read this person, read that person. Well, of course, a kid wants the positive approval and attention that they're receiving from the adults around them, so they keep doing it. That is making them feel like they're doing something that others cannot do. And that's not the case at all. Everybody has the ability to tap into this energy. It's just a lot of people aren't doing it. That's the only difference. So if you allow them to start understanding that this is a gift that everyone possesses, but they're the ones who are choosing to use it, it doesn't make them any more special, but it does help them in life. And that's a message that it's easier when your kids are very young to convey by you living it. So you receive messages from the other side, you get feelings or impressions that you should or should not do something. You can certainly be somewhat vocal when it's appropriate to talk to your kids about it. You know what, I feel like I should do this. Or we got the kids in the car, a lot of traffic. You know, I'm just kind of getting a feeling that if I maybe take the long way, we will avoid an accident. So, okay, go ahead and take the long way. And then if you see in the news later that day that there was indeed an accident, point that out to the kids and say, see, I paid attention to my gut. They learn by example far more than lecture. So whatever you do, your kids will follow. Now, here's an example of a mom that's just gone off the rails with her crazy ass kid. She came in to me a while back, and this is about 2 years ago or so. And she was convinced her daughter was super psychic. And, you know, okay, yeah, your daughter's really psychic. What's the deal here? And what it was her daughter certainly had some ability, but not to the level that the kid was claiming. What the kid was claiming was that she had so many gifts and that there's all these ghosts that keep them up all night long, and as a result she has to keep the whole family up. Nobody can sleep all night. And this has been going on for like a year or so by the time this mother comes in. She is exhausted. She's obviously trying to work a job, trying to support her family. She's a single parent. And she's not getting any sleep because her oldest daughter is keeping the youngest daughter up and going on and on and on about how these ghosts want to get them and they'll yank their legs and blah, blah, blah. But the way to tell that this was completely and utterly fake is several ways. One, this kid was not traumatized at all. Not even a little bit. Okay? If a kid is being tortured, it doesn't matter where the torture's coming from, they're going to react the exact same way. They're going to get glassy-eyed, they're going to get fearful, they're not going to want to be approached by strangers, they're going to be very guarded, they're going to start, you know, their eyes would start getting shallow and sunken in because they're not sleeping well. They would literally live in fear, and it's the same kind of fear that you see when a child is being abused by a living adult in the house. They're afraid of them. It's the same kind of reaction. They're afraid of what they cannot control. Whether it be from a ghost or whether it be from a living person, the reaction is still going to be the same. This kid wasn't exhibiting any of that. She was super friendly, very outgoing, you know, all this kind of stuff. Another thing this kid would also say was that the ghost would, you know, of course keep them up all night, you know, which prevented them from going to school during the day. So she was completely a win-win situation for this little kid. She didn't have to go to school and could stay up way past her bedtime. But the ghost, of course, towards the end of the evening when it got towards morning, would go ahead and tell the girl that they were going to leave her alone now so she could go to sleep. Okay, that's a load of crap right there. You know, anybody tries to sit there and tell you, oh yeah, I have some sort of controlled conversation with, you know, this entity that's terrorizing me, that is just BS right there. That is all that is. And the sad thing about this was, this mother really wanted to nurture her child's ability, if she actually had any. She and the father were separated, and the father was completely closed off. I hated all of this kind of stuff. So the mother was going overboard with it. And the mother was getting ripped off by psychic after psychic after psychic, because she's having all these people come and clear her house, charging her hundreds of dollars to do so. Ghost hunters coming out and with their little, readings and doing we're all picking up stuff. Oh, your kid's super great, super gifted and this, that, and the other. I was the only one that actually flat out said, listen, she's just ripping you off. All of these psychics are just ripping you off. There is absolutely nothing here, and you need to put your foot down and get your life back, because right now your kid is controlling you. And you could see the terror in the mother. She was exhausted. Her eyes were shallow and sunken in. She wasn't sleeping at all. She was, staying up all night because of these ghosts and all this kind of crap. But then, of course, she couldn't sleep during the day. The kids were not in school. They were taken out. They were just homeschooled. And, but the mother, she was the one who's clearly being terrorized by her own child. Of course, when I pointed that out, that wasn't received very well, and she's still, to this day, continuing to be ripped off by lots and lots and lots of psychics. And I throw that example out there just as an extreme example, so that you kind of get an idea of what not to do. Don't sit there and make your child feel like they are so beyond special that you are going to stop everything just to nurture this freaking crazy ass gift. Understand, all it is 5 senses that are heightened. It's not 6 sense. It's not an extra sense. It's I'm taking all the senses everyone else has, and I'm paying attention more. That's it. Now, some of the things you can do to help kind of nurture this a little bit more, especially in the really young kids, is ask a lot of questions. So once they start saying, oh, okay, I got this bit of information, or, your dead father is here to talk to you, or whatever, say, oh, well, how did you receive that? Did you see him in a picture in your mind? Because that's clairvoyance. Did you hear with, your words outside of your head? Did you feel this? Did you, feel an emotion? Is that why you're telling me that this person coming through is sad or something? Try to get the child to explain how they got it. Now, of course, I'm still talking about very young kids. And there again, short attention spans, you can only get a little bit of information. So we don't, stop everything. Oh my God, let's freaking talk to my childlike oracle that I've got here. No, let's just ask a couple of questions. They'll throw some answers out, and then they'll probably go back and play with their toys, and then maybe a little while later bring up something else and ask a few more questions. But we don't stop everything. We don't make it seem like this is unusual. The next thing that I would always do is encourage dialogue. Make sure that when your child does receive stuff, that you're not going to make fun of them. You'll go, oh, okay. Even if you're really clear they're pulling it out of their ass and this is not true even in a little bit. If your kid says, well, your dead father's here and he says that he's very proud of you and that I'm going to get a flying unicorn. Okay. Well, maybe part of that is true. But we just want to, okay, well, that's really good. We'll tell him thank you very much, But do encourage them to share with you so that they don't shut the gift off. Another thing I also see an awful lot of is after the age of 4, you start getting a lot of fear. And where fear comes from is not only media, but religion. Religion really, really encourages huge levels of fear. Organized religion is based on fear. If you're not afraid, you're not going to join their little group and pay the money and hopefully get further up in line so that you can get in heaven first. But the fear in the media is going to be things like Scooby-Doo. So when really, really young kids, like, 2, 3, almost 4 years old, they haven't really seen those kinds of cartoons and don't really quite understand what the storyline is. They're not afraid of anything. They're not afraid of any monsters in their closet, things under their bed. It's not until they get a little bit older and they start watching these cartoons and start learning they're supposed to be afraid of things they can't see. That's when the fear starts to kick in. As a little kid, I always saw things from the other side. Now, I've never seen anything with my eyeballs. A lot of people, a lot of psychics will say, "Oh, I see this, I see that," and not explain it. What they're trying to do is make it sound like they're far greater in abilities than you are, and that you should, definitely pay a lot of money in order to access those gifts. Like I said, they're really not that much more gifted than you. They've just spent more time paying attention to how it actually plays out. But for me, my gift is clairvoyance. I actually see things in my third eye. That's what clairvoyance means. It does not mean that you actually see things with your eyeballs. Occasionally you might, but most of the time, if you're going to see an entity on the other side with your physical eyes, they're trapped in between dimensions. So we're in the third dimension, the next dimension over is the fourth dimension. If they're a ghost, is what we call them, then they're stuck in between the two. So you can, a lot of times, it's very common for people who have literally no ghosts whatsoever to actually see a ghost of some type. But an entity, like doing a medium reading, seeing somebody that's actually fully crossed over, is not trapped in any way, and has no human emotions left. So they're not angry or sad or any of those kinds of things. That's somebody who's completely crossed over. You're not going to physically see them with your eyeballs. There again, like I said, I'm speaking from my own experience and from talking to many, many mediums over the years. Now, I'm not saying that no one can see them, but it is not normal for people who call themselves mediums to actually see things with their physical eyes. We usually see it in our third eye. The next way is called clairaudience. That's where you have clear hearing. That absolutely does not mean that I hear a disembodied voice outside my head. That's schizophrenia, and that needs medication. That is completely and utterly bonkers. What I have is more, I will not only see words, the other side will show me a word because I'm clairvoyant, so they'll show me the word, but I'll hear it in my own thoughts, in my own mind. So part of the hardest thing about being psychic is filtering out your own thoughts from the information that's being told to you to give to a stranger. Now, the third way is called claircognizance or clairsentience. And what clairsentience is just clear feeling. Now, these people who have strong clairsentience, they'll even say it all the time, and they won't even realize it. I feel like this is a good idea. I don't feel like that's going to work out. They're feelers. They close their eyes, and all they see are colors, bunches of colors. I close my eyes, I see black. I don't see a damn bit of colors. But as soon as I close my eyes, I will ask to see, whatever information I'm looking for, and the visions begin to come in, and they do come in color. You can hear my bird. She's sitting right next to my computer and just talking away. But then we have, like I said, the clairsentience is the clear feeling. These are people who will feel much more information than they will ever see things. They are not usually very good at doing guided meditations. They're not usually very good at doing past life regressions because they have a hard time visualizing. I'll tell them to close their eyes and visualize a beach. And what they see are swirls of pink and blue. And I'm like, okay, that's not helping me at all. You're not able to visualize. Haven't you been to a beach before? You can't see it in your head? No, I can't. The thing with all the different abilities, there's 3 different abilities, is everybody has one strong. The other 2 are there, but they're just a little bit weaker. So it's not that you just have one gift. It's that you are paying more attention to one, and that's how the other side is always communicated with you. I see an awful lot of times children who have had very difficult childhoods. So if they've had parents that were abusive or yelled a lot at each other, not even maybe towards the kids, but a lot of uncontrolled high emotions when they were growing up. A lot of times those kids who do have a strong tendency towards more psychic ability than, say, the average person, they will shut down their psychic ability from their third eye. They don't want to see the truth, and they do that at a young age to protect themselves. They don't want to see just how violent dad is because he really is a raging alcoholic, and they don't want to see that. So what they do is instead of receiving information straight in, they receive it from the sides. and those are my feelers. They trust information that they feel, but they don't want to see it. They'll let it come in, but they don't want it to come in through the top. They want it to come in more through the sides. We can change how we get the information, but we first have to understand how we get it. Until you understand and help your child understand how they receive it, we can't control it, and we can't master it. Now, another thing that I definitely always want everyone to pay attention to is to teach thought control. The one thing that we're not taught in school anymore by anybody is philosophy or logic, and it's really too bad, because those are the classes that teach you how you think and take information and lead to a conclusion. So the reason that it takes a lot of people a long time to figure out that they're psychic is no one ever said, how did you receive that information? How did you get that? So, which is exactly how it happened for me. I always was able to see visions and images. People would always talk to me from the other side in these visions and images. Therefore, I assumed everybody got the information the way I got it. It wasn't until I got to be an adult that I started to realize, oh, you don't see that? You don't hear that? You don't, and it was surprising to me that none of those things actually took place. Now, hopefully this is a good bit of information to get you started, just so you can kind of help nurture and let your child grow. I'm going to do more videos, one for more teaching the adolescent teenager, the one that maybe is a little bit more ready to focus, but then again, of course, has their own maturation issues that are going to be really involved in what they see and what they do. And then I'll also do another video for if you're fully grown, you've gone through school, you've now become an adult, and you're trying to decide exactly what to do with your gift, how to open it up, and whether or not you actually want to be a professional psychic if you have that level of a gift. Keep in mind, my name is Mary Bogart. I am a professional psychic medium in Nashville, Tennessee. You can reach me at my website, marybogart.com. If you have any questions, I will certainly answer them. However, I will not be doing free readings on here, so don't ask me specific questions. What I am looking for is more things to post videos about. So if I'm not answering exactly the kind of question that you're interested in learning about, please let me know, either through my website, like I said, marybogart.com, or on here. Thanks so much.